How can we foster data-driven instruction without creating a culture of compliance? In today's educational landscape, the push for data-driven instruction has become ubiquitous. Yet many school districts struggle with a common dilemma. How can we leverage the power of data to improve student outcomes without creating a sterile, compliance-driven culture that drains educator creativity and passion? Well, this tension between meaningful data use and superficial compliance represents one of the most significant leadership challenges facing K-12 administrators today. So, as administrators, how do we identify the compliance trap so that we don't fall into it? Because many school systems fall into predictable traps when implementing data-driven practices. The first is what I call the collection without connection syndrome. That's when we're gathering massive amounts of data without creating meaningful pathways for teachers to connect it to their daily instruction. This often results in data binders that sit on shelves or digital dashboards that remain unexamined. Another prevalent mistake is the gotcha approach, where data becomes primarily evaluative rather than developmental. When teachers perceive data as something used against them rather than for improvement, defensive walls go up and authentic engagement disappears. Perhaps most damaging is the one-size-fits-all response to data, where prescribed interventions are mandated regardless of the teacher's expertise or the student's context. This approach not only undermines teacher professionalism, but also ignores the complex realities of diverse classrooms. So the question then becomes, how do we move from compliance to commitment? Well, transforming data cultures begins with a fundamental shift in mindset. Effective leaders understand that data should illuminate, not evaluate. The primary purpose of data isn't to judge teacher performance, but to shine light on student learning paths and guide instructional decision making. You see, authentic data-driven leadership operates from a growth mindset. It views data as a tool for continuous improvement rather than a weapon for accountability. As Mandevich and Jackson note in their research, schools that successfully implement data practices focus on building collective capacity rather than enforcing compliance. So, how do we build a healthy data culture? Well, successful data-driven schools employ several key strategies. Number one, build data literacy through collaboration. So rather than imposing top-down data mandates, create structured collaborative time for teachers to analyze, interpret, and plan together around the data. Schildecamp's research on data teams shows that collaborative inquiry significantly increases teachers' ability to translate data into effective instruction. Number two, prioritize relevant, actionable data. Not all data deserves equal attention. So help teachers focus on high leverage information that directly informs instruction rather than overwhelming them with every available metric. Number three, connect data to practice through instructional coaching. Instructional coaches can bridge the gap between data analysis and classroom practice, helping teachers implement responsive strategies. And last but not least, number 4, model vulnerability with data. Leaders who openly use data for their own improvement demonstrate that data is about growth, not punishment. As Michael Fullan emphasizes, the principal's role is to lead the school's teachers in a process of learning to improve their teaching. So, to bring all of this together and ensure that you are creating that rich culture, celebrate data-informed success. Develop systems to recognize and share instances where data-driven approaches lead to improved student outcomes, thereby reinforcing the value of the process. So as the administrator, how do you lead a data culture transformation? Because that is part of your responsibility. So as educational leaders, you have the power to transform how your organization experiences data. Begin by auditing your current data practices and ask yourself, are they fostering compliance or commitment? Next, convene your leadership team to establish clear principles for data use that emphasizes improvement over accountability. Most importantly, model the way forward. Show your own willingness to use data for growth by sharing district or school level data transparently, discussing both successes and challenges, and demonstrating how you're using that information to improve your leadership practices. The goal isn't perfection, but progress. Moving from data compliance to a culture where data illuminates paths toward better teaching and learning. So, what one step will you take this week to shift your school's data culture from compliance to commitment?